Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna, and today I'm here with the talented Lilli Lewis. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. In all the qualifiers that giggle implies, like that's how I'm doing. Like,
Beautiful, wonderful, all that good stuff. So we'd love to start off
always.
with the most. Sorry.
I was just saying always, like, if it's not beautiful and all that good stuff, then what you got? What are you working with?
Exactly. Exactly. Life is short. Enjoy it, right? Live it up.
Yes.
So we'd love to start off with one of the most difficult questions ever. Tell me, who is Lilli Lewis?
Oh my Lord. Who is Lilli Lewis? Well, that's a difficult question for me because I think I'm dealing with more than one kind of orientation to the world. The truth be told, Lilli Lewis is a very shy, very country girl who grew up on a dirt road outside of Athens, Georgia, transplanted to Louisiana because I had to go see about a girl. In fact, that's my wife in the picture on the back on the Mississippi River, me and her.
Aw.
And I'm goofy, I'm nerdy, I like sci-fi, and I feel like just like nerdily devoted to music, like kind of beyond reason. Like I say a lot that I still love music the way little children love marshmallows. Like I'm just,
Yeah.
that that enamored little geek lady trying to make it in the world. That's Lilli Lewis. If Lilli was describing Lilli, that's what she would say.
Oh, I love the description. Oh, and so funny because I know you said that before about being a geek about music, and I'm like, yep, I can see that. You're you. That's it. Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so what else am I geeky about? Unicorns.
Yeah, who
I'm
doesn't
that
love
girl.
unicorns?
Like, yeah, but like I never outgrew it. I started very early and you know, so like I'm staring at four different unicorns right now. Like my wife just puts them in my space whenever she comes across one, she's like, isn't that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually wearing unicorns on my feet. Like, yeah. hmm And I think, oh well, that counts with the music stuff. I was like, oh, and pianos. I love piano. Yeah, but we already know that. So that's nothing.
Oh, well, tell me. Obviously, growing up in Georgia, who were some of your musical influences?
Well, let's see. When I was really young, it was Jackson 5, which graduated to New Edition. And then something happened like in middle school where I like joined a choir and I got to go to Allstate. I know you have that in Florida. Um, don't you have that in Florida? I think you have that in
Yeah,
Florida.
Florida has
Okay.
that for sure. Yes.
So I went to Allstate and sang in this mixed choir of like 200 kids, like some, Renaissance motet. First time I'd ever sung in Latin. One day we turned all the lights out and lined the auditorium walls, and sang this kind of austere a cappella piece. And I think I got invaded by like 1,000 ghosts in that like 2.5 minute duration. And from that point on, I was really like hardcore into classical music. And so, like, I was like totally obsessed with this like turn of the century French composer named Gabriel Fauré. And just kind of that whole world was my obsession. And then somehow somebody helped me graduate from 20th century French music to Nina Simone. And so Nina Simone, Bobby McFerrin, Sweet Honey in the Rock, and John Coltrane, Bill Withers, they all kind of invaded my life around the same time. And so that kind of like meshed up my DNA a bit. Um, and then, so this is all like the music that sort of stirred inside me and like worked on saving me and in my life and my personhood. And then the older I get, the more I realize that all of that probably started in my father's church. We were at this super old church. It's like this Baptist church with a hardwood floor. And we didn't have instruments like a lot of people have drums and all that kind of stuff in the church. We didn't have any of that. We had an organ on one side, a piano on the other, and our feet. And so we would like slowly stomp our feet. And it was just this haunting thing and like do these moaning kind of prayer things. And I think that like most of my love for the things that feel ghosty started then, so that's probably my root. And then all that other stuff swirls around that root. And, that ends up being what my music sounds like. But most people don't listen to that much music. So they don't know how to make heads or tails of what I do. But I'm like, oh, all you gotta do is take a hardwood floor and mix it with some turn of century French music. And, like it all comes together pretty obviously, in fact. Like,
Absolutely. No. Yeah, I don't think most people even gathered that from, you know what I mean? No, not at all.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
Now it just sounds like Lilli, but it's not original at all. It's just everybody, all the things I love, talking to
Well,
each
it
other.
it is Lilli because it's your interpretations and how you create it. It is absolutely.
I was trying to be modest, Donna. But it is.
Well,
It's
you have
loving conversation. That's going on for me all the time. It's like, what would so and so say about that? And it's not literal like that, but it's just, that's the language of love, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So, are there any women right now that you feel influenced by?
Oh man, I'm gonna date myself because so many of the women that I'm really obsessed with
Mhm.
are like, my elders, right? So Bernice Johnson Regan, Bonnie Raitt, Patty from Tuck and Patty. I actually just met her on the West Coast on my last tour leg. Who else? These are, I'm talking about the living women. Uh, Toshi Regan is like a hardcore root artist for me, and and there are other writers that I'm totally astounded by. Like Carsie Blanton is one of them who just like somehow manages to find just the right words to say the complicated stuff that I've been working on my whole life, just trying to understand within myself. She just like makes it all rhyme and sings with some nice harmonies and a little like, it's just like, man, you're not supposed to know humans that well, and be able to make it rhyme,
Yeah,
so I have a handful of those queens that are out there. And of the ones coming up, I'm really inspired by Brittany Spencer. I feel like she's probably gonna spin circles around everybody pretty soon. And just I just like to keep my eyes open on like the people that made me go, yeah, you did that, like that kind of thing.
absolutely. There's so much talent out there, and I think sometimes we don't get to engage in it all or only get a portion of it because it's something we have to seek out a lot of times, especially when it comes to women to music. We have to really seek it out and get roots music, folk music. It's not widely played on radio stations where you would find it. You have to go to those those smaller stations or the online places, or like to find the women. And that's one thing that I've come across in so much, because we get so much new music here, and I'm like, I get all this great music, and trying to share it out, to the people and be like, you got to check these people out, because you probably will never hear them on the radio, because the radio's not going to play their standard, music. And
That's really,
but yeah.
but I also think that for me personally, a lot of times I get just as taken by the person as I am by the music, and sometimes more so. And that's because I was a composer. I've been a composer since I was 3 years old,
Yeah.
right? And I'm so busy trying to hear the music that's downloading into my head that sometimes I don't even have space, bandwidth, or time for other people's music, because sometimes it actually clouds out or like muddies what's going on in my head. And anybody who's familiar with my music knows that a lot of stuff is going on in my head, right? But I never am lacking for bandwidth for people's stories, or people's intentions. So a lot of times that will be my hook. And I think that's as much true for women artists as for anybody else. But so for example, like I'm like totally hooked on the person that is Sheryl Crow. It's like I may not ever play her music in the background in my house while me push and play on the button, because first of all, when I was growing up, it was so available passively that I may have even taken the music for granted, but I never took her story for granted. I'm like, you are bad, like you is bad, like, and so a lot of times, like, I don't think, and here I'll just be frank with it. Most of the people I make music with, they're all men. And I watch them do this little circle jerk with themselves, and they talk about each other like they're gods. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like they always has that inflection, and they memorize everybody's licks, and they memorize each other's this and that and the other. And they're constantly deifying each other, right? And so like I feel like the women that I've seen, when we have deified, like musicians on the scene, a lot of times when we deify somebody else, like we feel compelled to put ourselves down at the same time. We're like, oh, I could never, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you is as much as a queen as that one and that one and that one. You're just as potent, as powerful. You could do X, Y, and Z. And I just get so ignited by the possibilities of all these stories. So whenever I come across somebody who like really nailed it, and not just like made a professional impact or or commercial impact, but also endured, like, and not just chronologically, but went through some stuff and still show up for the job with like utter competence and a smile, and understand the sacred nature of facilitating that experience for their audience. I mean, it's breathtaking, and we have so many women, doing that. And I don't think that it's possible. I don't even think it's possible to give these artists the props they deserve. I just, anyway. But my dude friends are very well practiced in it, so I think y'all are onto something in like helping us practice.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of hit a nail on the head. I don't remember the comedian I was listening to, but she said she was talking about one of her guy friends, and they're like, when they greet guys, they're not like, like they were the lady was joking. She's like, hey bitches, what's up? Like, no. We should stop doing that. We should be like, we gotta start being like the guys, be like, yo, boss, yo, like whatever. Like, I'm like, it was just so funny, but it's so true. I'm like, yeah. She was right. Absolutely. I'm like, yeah, we need to start being like guys in that sense, and just, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes because I spend so much time myself, sometimes I don't realize that I'm not as practiced in girl and lady stuff as a lot of my lady friends.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, like, sometimes I come off as like heavy handed, or like boss lady. But like I've been a boss lady for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And also like I'm freaking passionate about what I do. I love what I do. And I'm fairly unapologetic, even though I've been on a growth path like for since I was a small wee little child. I don't have nearly the success of a lot of the other artists that are out there, but like that doesn't stop me from really being in love with
Yeah.
what I'm lucky enough to pass through me. And so I forget that like I forget that I'm supposed to be demure. I forget that I'm just so excited about it all that I'm just like, I'm so lucky to be here. And at the same time, I find that some people like they don't always understand the sweetness
Yeah.
that's underneath my like what looks like confidence or whatever. It's just like, no, man, I'm just a boss lady, just like you. Like, what's going on here? So
Exactly. But I think that's just
I'm like,
society in general.
yeah, totally, absolutely. So I'm like, for lack of a better word, the cockier you are, all the women artists out there, the cockier you are, the better for me because we could really hang, right? Confident in your work, be in love with your work because you deserve to be in love with your work.
Absolutely. And not just music. It could be anything in that case. I mean, realistically,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yep,
Absolutely.
exactly. Yep.
So, well, would you like to do our 20 crazy questions?
Let's go for it. I hope that I won't give you 40-minute answers for every question.
Well, I promise they're fun, get to know you, and we won't get arrested yet.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully never, right? Fingers crossed.
Right. Well, I don't know. You're in Florida. I'm in Louisiana. Like we could go off at any minute,
It could happen.
Let's do it.
Oh, okay. So tell me, what is your dance like nobody's watching song? A song you have to dance to.
Oh man, do I have to say it? It's Michael Jackson. Don't stop till you get enough. I've been trying to wean myself. I did wean myself off, but that is the truth. Once that one go, I'm like, oh, and a better one, Walking on Sunshine, Katrina and the
Oh,
Waves. They, all right, I'm
both very
redeemed.
perfect. Oh, in your opinion, what is the perfect workout song or genre?
Workout song or genre? I'm so weird because I have to audition all kinds of music to figure out what my body will actually move to. And what I found that my body will do the most to is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Don't ask me why, especially the last movement. I get super crunk with it. Nobody else has to be on that page, but that's the page I'm on. Sorry. Not sorry.
See, and I focus better with classical music, Beethoven, anything like that. Any of the classical. I'm like, I'll be at work and I'll just be like doing something, and I'll be like, if I get stuck, I'll be like, and I'll be like, mm-hmm. Oh yeah, let me go back to this problem, and boom, like I feel like I've like solved world peace or something.
That's right.
Oh, so tell me your top two favorite concerts ever.
Okay. Bobby McFerrin conducting Chick Corea playing Mozart piano concertos, and Nina Simone. I saw her right shortly before she passed in Boston. Changed my life.
Oh.
Can I add one more though?
Okay, I'll let you have one more.
Okay. Like when it came to personal authority and like could make the whole crowd like could sway the whole crowd with just like lifting an eyebrow, Nina Simone. Okay. But when it came to utter command of every single second of the performance, I would say that would have been Tuck and Patty, Scullers, 2020, no, 2002. Yeah, I walked out of that space thinking this is the most amazing, the most perfect music I've ever encountered. Holy, holy, holy. Okay.
Beautiful. So If you could tell us some music recommendations, a couple artists or albums we need to listen to before we die, what would you recommend?
Ooh, man, this is loaded. Okay, record that you should listen to before the end of the calendar year would
Mhm.
be Jake Blunt's new record, New Faith. Okay, record you should hear before you die would be either Jesse Norman or Elizabeth Schwarzkopf's recording of Richard Strauss's Four Last Songs series. That series.
Beautiful recommendations. So, do you have any guilty pleasure music? And if so, what is it?
Michael Jackson, period, any of it. Like I don't feel guilty about the Jackson 5. But by the time we get to Thriller, I'm like, I don't know, you might not have been up to good stuff. And yet I love it so much. Although I just realized that really probably what I love is the Quincy Jones influence. All those three records, like especially
Mhm.
Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. I'm just like, oh, it's Quincy Jones that I loved. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can I can lean into that more, but yeah, that's still guilty pleasure music. Oh my gosh, Lord. New Edition, anything. And um, this is not so much guilty, just like not always shared. Lionel Richie, like 1983. like, okay. But that I get
Hey,
from my mother.
I'll tell you, some of my favorite Christmas albums were from Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. So, just so you know, those were both like in the
Wait,
80s.
wait,
I
wait,
think
wait,
one was
wait,
in the
wait, wait.
90s. So, yeah.
Guilty about Dolly Parton or Kenny Rogers ever. I mean,
I was
like it
saying, no,
doesn't.
no, they're definitely not guilty, but I'm just saying they're just my like older Christmas songs. Like,
Oh,
I like
oh,
when it comes to like, since we're getting close to Christmas here, I'm the older Christmas song person, like the original. Like, some of the new songs are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're,
no, they
but
are.
I'm
They're
like,
bad. Only
for,
the older ones are good.
for it to be Christmas, it's like you need like Bing Crosby and Elvis and like the classics.
Yes,
Like, I'm
yes.
like,
See?
and
Yeah,
Alabama even because yeah, just
yeah.
yeah, the
No,
classics like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No shame in your game. Not now.
So
But speaking
hypo.
of Dolly Parton, okay, go ahead.
No, go
You go
ahead. Dolly
ahead.
Parton. Talk about if it's talking about Dolly, I'm in. I'm like,
Oh,
I
I
still
was
want to
just
be
gonna
grow up to be
say,
Dolly Parton. I'm gonna be like 90. I'm gonna be like, I want to grow up to be Dolly Parton. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I was totally mesmerized by her as a kid, and like freaking Island in the Streams was on like total repeat in my house growing. I could never get enough of that song. And like, Island in the Dream, that is what we are. And then I'd be like, cleaning the table and like sweeping the floor. Like I just couldn't get, yeah. Anyway, soundtrack of my childhood.
Oh, well, Dolly, tidbit here about me. I was forbidden from playing Dolly when I finally got my driver's license. I was 16 with my mom in the car. She's like, I forbid you to play Dolly Parton. You're not allowed to play her. And then it was Reba. And I'm like, what? She's like, I used to love Reba and Dolly, but you like overplayed them for me.
Well, they shouldn't be so good though. That's not your fault. Right. That's not your
It's like, I
fault.
can't do any more of them. Please play something else. I'm like, at least I know how to torture people.
You're like, that's like saying like, anyway, I won't be too blasphemous on here, but like for real though, it's not your fault. Like they shouldn't be so mesmerizingly amazing. So
I agree.
oh wait, no, no, no. They're boss ladies. They should be
That's
just as good as they are.
oh, oh. But apparently I'm good at overplaying music, so we can torture people. I'm good. We don't need to worry about torture camps or anything like that. Just hire me and we'll just
Got
torture
it
people with
covered.
music. Just
All right. That's
so speaking
awesome.
of
That's good.
torturing people, hypothetically, if I came to you and said I need to hide a dead body, do you know a good place?
Oh yeah, anywhere on my property.
Oh,
Like
perfect.
literally. Like I'm certain that dead bodies are already on my property. It feels like the Dalton brothers' house or something. Like, like, yeah, yeah, I got you, girl. We're good.
Okay, next time I'm coming through Louisiana, I'm just gonna stop by just so I can,
Yeah, just
you
bring
know,
them.
I just
Just
gotta check out your area house, you know, like, yeah. Oh, so, do you have a game plan for zombie apocalypse?
again, see my house. Like
Oh, they
I
live at your house. I got it now. Okay.
no, we're like trying to be in an innocuous enough place, but also I got a really good friend out in Lufkin, Texas, who's just like, when the zombie apocalypse comes, we're all coming here. He's like, he's got the plan, and I'm like, okay, Ray, you're like the only person on the planet that I would trust with this plan, but I know that you've thought this plan all the way through, so I'll see you then.
Okay,
So
perfect. I'll
apparently,
just show up. Yeah. And if we need a
Lufkin, Texas.
vacation, good.
Just walk around Lufkin going, Lilli, Lilli, are you there? We'll find you. We'll bring you into our compound. It'll be great.
Okay. Because I would say if you need a vacation then during the zombie apocalypse, we've discovered that they don't like snow apparently. So if we're up
Oh,
in the North Mountains, someone brought that to my attention. I was like, I even knew I've never really had a game plan
I
myself.
like snow either. Does that mean I'm a zombie? I don't. I don't really like it when it's cold. Like I've had my
No.
days in the cold. I live in Boston. I lived
Yeah.
in Colorado and the Rockies, and I'm like, I think my cold days might be over. They might just have to come get me if that's what it takes, because I don't know what's
We've just come to
worse.
South Florida. It's always like hot here. Yeah, we're still in like
You
the
know
eighties this
that's gonna
week.
be ground zero. But you know South Florida is gonna be ground zero. So that's like where they're gonna leave first. So South Florida
They're gonna
should be
leave
safe.
here, so we'll be fine. Yeah, once they leave, I'll
Right.
call you, be like, get
We're
over
gonna
here, and
migrate.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, tell me, what job would you be terrible at doing?
Ooh, these days it feels like any job. What job would I be terrible at doing? Anything involving a sport. Um, anything involving serving fast food, and anything involving retail. Yeah.
I like how the first thing was sports. I'm like, what? You want to be the next NFL kicker?
Sadly,
No.
not even in my dreams. Like in my dreams, I'm a professional dancer, but
Oh,
still not really a sporty type, even in my dreams. Unlike my wife, who is so sporty. Like the easiest way to get her on my good side is be like, "Oh, you look so sporty today," or like, "Wow, look at that soccer ball." Like it's like way too easy.
oh. All right. So then we'll have to all get together and go to like a hockey game or something like that. Because that's my sport. I just love.
Awesome. Oh, she was so obsessed with hockey when she was like, she was certain that she wanted to be a hockey player until she discovered soccer. And then she was certain that she wanted to be a soccer and hockey player. So yeah.
Well, I grew up in near Pennsylvania where like there was no female hockey players to my knowledge. Like just this one little area. But I met some people now, some females that are from like
Well,
Canada
she grew up,
and North Michigan, and they were like, "Yes, we played hockey all
right,
through high
right.
school and middle school and elementary even." And I'm like, "We didn't have women's leagues like that. We barely even
Did
had
you
a women's
get
soccer
jealous?
team." Yeah, I was jealous, super jealous.
She got so jealous. Yeah, like so she grew up in South Louisiana, same story as yours, like no
Mhm.
women doing soccer. I mean, no women doing not even soccer for a while, but
Yeah,
certainly not hockey. She then she moved to Atlanta and found that there was like this women's ice hockey team, and she was like, "Oh, it's not fair." I think she went to one practice, and it's like, oh, that hurt my ego too much. But still, like,
yeah,
oh, man, so many things we missed out
yeah,
on. Yeah.
absolutely. You know, and it's sad because as women, you know, like they have all the guys' sports there, right? All the, you know, but
Right.
you know, I we didn't have female. We had to go to another school if we wanted to play on the girls' soccer team. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, my mom's not gonna drive me another 5, 10 miles that way. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll just play basketball and volleyball and softball and whatever else I'm doing. Right? Keep them busy, out of trouble.
What we just figured out is like it's so frustrating that like all of the women's sports teams were all the lady version of the other, like, so in my high school we were the gladiators, right? So like if you were on a women's team, you were a lady gladiator, and I'm like, that's not a thing. Like,
Yeah.
how be a lady as a gladiator? It's like, why we always have to have the lady version of it? Why can't we just, you know, be our own thing? Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
we
No,
could
I
have
totally
glad
agree.
warriors like that. We could have done that. It doesn't. We don't have to genderify everything, do we? Not every single. Anyway.
Yeah, I can say at least my school didn't do that. I can, not that we had the best mascot at the time, but it's okay. At least it wasn't gender specific teams. It was, yeah, it was
Well,
volleyball.
good,
That's it.
good.
Yeah. And our mascot. Besides, the girls' volleyball team always used to bring in like states and things like that. The boys didn't. Yeah, like they did a couple times, but girls was the hot one. So, yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's what's up. Tell
Oh,
them.
okay. So tell me, if you won the lottery, what's the first thing you would do?
Buy my house. Um, I know it's so
We're
selfish, but like
responsible.
these days, like my wife has been supporting my music for so long. Like the first thing I would want to do would be to like do something to like offer some stability in her direction. And right now that means getting this house. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I
And
could give you
it's us being responsible people. That's what it is. We're just responsible adults. This adulting is
maybe.
hard, I tell you.
I feel like I wish I could own that. I wish I could own adulting, but like, I mean, I'm touring the country in a van for a living. So that should tell you the level of adulting I'm up to. And that level is not high. So I think I would like to do some like grand gesture to it, like to make up for all the lack of adulting I've been able to accomplish in my adulted years.
There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely not. Tell me, what's the last thing you read?
Read with my eyes.
Okay,
I couldn't.
audiobook. Audiobook. It has to be an audiobook.
Oh, yay, they count. Yay. Okay. Let's see. The very last one I finished was a reread. First time it was a read, this time it was a listen of the Octavia Butler Xenogenesis series. That occupied the bulk of the last run. And then when we needed 6 more hours of listening, it was Quincy Jones's 12 Notes thing, which is like kind of his most recent book.
Both great books. I haven't read the Quincy Jones ones, but I've read, yeah. Oh, wait, maybe I should back up and say audiobook. I've audiobooked a lot of them. So, in all honesty, transparentness, right? Do you prefer boots or heels?
Never, ever, ever again a heel. Ever again. Ever. I used to do a heeled boot. That used to be my thing. But Liz was like, baby, no, you must have comfortable feet. Like that was like my lack of comfortable feet was almost a deal breaker. And so I gave up on heels. I even eventually gave up on boots, but I love a good boot. Man, I just, if I could rock my boots in comfort and pizzazz, I would be all about it. Boot
Beautiful.
100%.
It's all about comfort. That's what the truth is. If we made a movie about your life, who would play you? Who would
We
you want to
used
play you?
we used to kind of try to figure this out. Um, man, I think I think I just have Queen Latifah stuck in my head, but like she's older than me, but
That would
still
be
she
fine.
looks like me. So I'm trying to think because we Liz and I flirt with this from time to time, like because we're certain that we're so compelling that somebody ought to make a movie about us. And for her, it would have been Chloe Sevigny. And don't you think Chloe Sevigny and Queen Latifah would make a great couple? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
that I could see. That I could see. Yeah.
so we'll leave it there. Now I think she wants to be played by Megan Rapinoe, but like whatever. I don't know that Megan Rapinoe
It's
would
a
take much of
soccer.
an
It's a soccer thing. That's all.
right. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, so I bet she's watching the World Cup right now, huh?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay, she'll have to keep me updated on stats because I've been like, okay, who's winning? Who's winning? Okay, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's my level of interest right now.
Like a good American, right? You're like, wah, wah.
Oh. Speaking of possibly world things, where's Waldo?
Mm. Probably also on my property.
At least not behind me anymore.
Hopefully not dead.
Oh. We're just gonna come put lots of little cardboard "Where's Waldo's" on your property and be like, "Look, there he is."
Right.
Oh, in your opinion, what's the best thing since sliced bread?
Mm. Oh, this is going to be a nerdy response. Secure attachment. And I don't even think anybody knows what I mean by that, but it's like, in the psych world, there's like this whole theory around attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
And like either you can be avoidant, you can be disorganized, you could be like there's all these different ways in which neurosis plays out in relationship. And it's different when you're young versus when you're old. You clearly know what I'm talking about, but whenever I say these two words together, people just look at me sideways like, what you talking about, Lil? But dang, when you hit that sweet spot, and it's just like, I got you, you got me. You go through difficult stuff, but we still know, where the arguments that used to last months now last minutes. Like, it's like, oh, it's delicious. Oh my God, it's so good.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. I think that's one of the best answers I've ever had on this. I mean, we have great
awesome.
answers, but I mean, just so would you rather cook or order in?
Cook. Oh, I love to cook. Yeah. I don't even know if I'm that great at it, but I love to cook. Oh, I hate ordering. It always feels like I'm wasting like money and it's always too salty and da 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 da. But like it doesn't even matter if other people's food is delicious. I just love to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I probably love to cook almost as much as I like playing piano. So
Any special dishes that you're like, I absolutely love to cook. This is like my favorite dish to cook.
well, I can tell you my the best dish that I ever learned to execute. Um like was we assembled a spanakopita recipe that like we just took all the best things from like various recipes and
Mm-hmm.
like developed this thing. We don't even call it spanakopita anymore. People call it spank your mama because that's how good it is. It's like we don't make it anymore because it's so time consuming and the way we do it like we're so present to every moment of we don't make it that much anymore, but like that's by far like oh she did that.
Oh, so let me know when we're having vacation and we'll do that. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Oh, so tell me, pizza. What's the worst pizza topping in your opinion?
This is a boring answer for me. Anchovies, I don't get them. It's just like extra fishy salt. I don't get it. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that.
So, so how do you feel about pineapple?
I'm pro pineapple. I know that's
Okay,
not
good.
always, that's not the most popular opinion, but I'm pro pineapple. Very pro, very pro.
Yes, that had to be a question because, frankly, that became the heated debate early in 2022 when we started asking it. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize this was such a hot topic. Pineapple or no pineapple? Like, whoa,
Well,
like
now
about
we know we're taking each other to vacation with, right?
right. Oh, so what do you wish would magically clean itself?
Say that again.
What do you wish would magically clean itself?
Hmm.
The
My dirty
car,
mouth.
the house. Oh.
I want to. I
What was
aspire to.
that gum? Wait, what was the gum? Orbit? No, was it Orbit?
Did they have a? That was a thing. That was
What
a
was it? It was
campaign.
like clean up dirty mouth or something like that. Like it was like Orbit. One of the gums. I forget which one. I think I want to say Orbit, but it probably wasn't Orbit. I'll think of it later. But yeah. Like, why do I have a case of gum in my mailbox now? Oh, so tell us something on your bucket list.
Hmm. Oh well. um. My bucket list keeps changing because I keep like doing the things that are on them, and so I keep having to. So my current one is Amy Ray is coming to New Orleans on February 13th, and I'm going to be at home. And I know I'm going to the show, but it is my current desire, and plan um that she let me participate in the show. I wrote her a note even. I was like, hey girl, I love you, right? Like I did that. I let my agent know, like I'm letting people around town who know the talent booker at the venue know. Like I'm like, hey, Shawty, it's Lilli Lewis right here. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so that's current top of the list. And come February 13th, we'll know whether or not it stays on the list or whether we can cross it off and move on to the next one.
You're so gonna have to like live stream something for me. Yeah, because I want to see if it happens. Yeah,
Well,
or
yeah,
maybe
we
get your
should.
wife to live stream and I'll give you my cell number. You can just
Yeah, if I get the rejection email, I'll even read that. I'll be sorry, Lilli, you can't come play with me. I'll record that for you too. Either way, I'll let you
Oh, well, I hope you get to cross that one off your bucket list too, because that's what
know.
bucket lists are made for: is crossing those things off and doing
That's
them.
right.
Absolutely.
Amen. That's right.
If you could be any person like Dolly Parton, or a position like a CEO, a president, whatever, who or what position would you want to be for the day and why?
One day. One day. That's a tough question for me because I have entered the phase of my life where I'm so clear about my purpose and my message, um, that I know it's subtle enough that I have to play the long game. So what would I want to be if I only had one day? Who or what would I want if I only had one day? I think I would still want to be me. I think I would still, because like the long game is not going to be solved in my lifetime. So I want to spend all of my effort and energy, giving what I have, you know. I don't know that I would want to. I think I've gained enough respect for that which I'm holding space for that I gotta do me this time around, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, I still want to be Dolly Parton for the day, but I am
Look,
happy that you just want to be
no
you.
hate, no shade. Right. I want to hang out with Dolly Parton for the day. Maybe that's what I,
Just
Lilli Lewis, want
yeah,
to be doing
see?
for that one day.
Maybe we can
All
both
right.
hang out with Dolly for the day. Like if she said we're getting up at 3 a.m., I'd be like, okay, I don't like it, but I will do it.
That's
For
the
you. I
time
will do
you
it.
have. It's all you.
Yep.
It's all you know who else I have that though for? Bonnie Raitt. If she
Oh
called
yeah.
me, care what time of day, what time of night. I'm
Mhm.
there, Bonnie. You want me to hop on a plane? Okay, let me scrape together the monies. I'm there.
Yes.
Anytime you want to talk, Lily's got you.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so I'll invite you if whatever I get invited and you invite me. Deal?
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Got it.
Package deal.
That's
No.
how we do it. We gotta pay it forward. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
gotta.
Oh. So, do you have any words of wisdom that you live by? And if so, what are they?
Um, so this one is actually easy. My band and I, we have a slogan. We say practice radical decency. And like that's all about like, as musicians, we know that practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes amazing, even if it's not perfect. Like we all
Mhm.
started out a hot mess and then we all got better. So like it's not about being self-righteous or anything. It's just about practicing, because things get better. It's radical because decency is tough these days. It's especially radical if you're being decent with people that you don't agree with. Um, and I kind of like the effort that it takes. I like the exertion. Like I am not a physical athlete, but I am a spiritual one. So I like the exertion that it takes for me to dig down deep and be super decent with people that really hurt my feelings or that blah blah.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the decency part is because that's JV. I'm wanting us to get to varsity, which is what justice would be, but we're so far from that we just start with the basics.
Yeah,
So that's where we're at.
I love that. And that's so true. I mean, especially with so much in the world going on, especially politics and things like that, and just people being rude and disrespectful. It's so nice that I will go always the extra step and try to be nice to someone that's been mean because you know what, you never know what someone's going through. Sometimes maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they found out they have cancer. Whatever. Like it could be anything. But I think just trying to be really kind is just yeah, and you can agree to disagree with people left and right, and that's fine. But you can
Right.
still treat them with kindness and respect. And there's yeah.
And sometimes like you can put out too much effort and you get your feelings hurt trying. But that still seems worth it because you're building a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's almost nothing more satisfying than like melting an icicle, like with your heart,
Mm-hmm.
with like
Yes.
with your
Yes.
doors like that, like Care Bear stare,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's and in my job, like I come across quite a few, cantankerous people who just like, and I'm like, oh, that's how you want to be. Oh, I see. You put
Yeah.
a little something, something on them, cast
Yeah.
you a little spell. And at the end, they're like, Miss Lily, Miss Lily. I'm like, oh, there you are, sweet. You know,
Exactly.
that makes me awesome. Yeah.
Mm. Well, that was the 20 crazy questions. So I just have one more
Okay.
quick question for you. And that is tell me, what new music do you have coming out?
I have a lot of new music that I'm working on. Like, I'm working on a collection of solo piano and voice covers for my Patreon community. That's the Folk Rock Diva Patreon community. I'm also working on a collaboration with my Scottish friend of like a new setting of like a 5th century like Scottish song, which is kind of cool. Um, and I just started working on my new commercial album, which I'm hoping to have out by November. And I'm releasing, or like the thing that I'm like working on right now, like putting out very soon, if not by the time this is seen, is a song that I've been starting all of my live shows with this year. It's a new song called Drink This Water Child, and it's paired with Joni Mitchell's Woodstock. And it's something that like so many people have asked where they could get it. And I was being stingy and thinking I was going to save it for the record, but the record is actually taking a whole new direction. It's called All Is Forgiven, and it's kind of a rock record. And I don't even know if there's space for this song on the record, but so I just wanted to kind of offer it up. So it's called Drink This Water, Child, and Woodstock. It's like a medley thing or whatever you call that. So that's the music in my world.
Definitely excited for all the new music to come, because you have amazing music out, and you can definitely see, and this is just me speaking, I can see transitions in artists from when they start and they start growing and things like that. Even if they wrote it, sometimes I know we'll write things and it won't get cut till 4, 5, 10 years later, depending on how you feel about it, and by that time you might change the melodies and things like that. And so, it's amazing just to see different progressions, so it's beautiful.
And that's certainly been my story, because like I put out 10 albums worth of music that was all demos, because I didn't have any support. I didn't have anybody helping me with anything, and nobody wanted to take a chance on somebody like me. And and in the last few years, like, these really angel beings have shown up in my life and really seen me. And so that's like my producer, folks in my band, my agent, like all these people. And so like when you feel seen, you like kind of fire on all cylinders, and just like, oh, all systems go. So some old songs have gotten a chance to really, really evolve, and be more fully realized. And then the new songs are showing up to show me who I am now. So it's been a really cool ride lately. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I'm so glad you could join me today, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate
my pleasure.
it. Super fun.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. And thank you, friends, for joining us for another episode. Be sure to check out the links in the description, and have a great day, everyone. If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.